Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to continue reading from my book, Sparrowmancer. These are my least watched videos. But I want to thank those of you who do watch them. I appreciate you, and I promise I will continue to make videos like this until I have finished not just this book, but its 2 sequels, which are done and published and available. Someday, I will learn how to make an audio book. And then you will be able to listen to all the Sparrowmancer books, as well as my other books. And now, without further ado, this is the end of chapter 8, and we don't have much further to go, so I anticipate this will be a shorter video. Sparrow spent a few days in East Yim, waiting for the harrowing to leave him. At night, he slept in a debris shelter on the beach. During the day, he walked the city. The people were oppressed, their spirits thin. They went about their lives as if they were only halfway in the world, making art, preparing food, and gathering supplies. They shared gossip and traded with each other, but no one came in from outside, and no one left for very long. Machuk stayed in the care of Yim's medicine people. She was hurt and tired. Sparrow went to visit her in a little brown building with a skillion roof. There she was asleep on a bed of drying kelp, and a shaman was praying over her. Eventually, Sparrow realized that being in the city only strengthened the intruding harrowing. He left Yim and spent a month in the surrounding ruins. Sometimes he switched off his audio receptors and walked through the grave silence. Sometimes he meditated for days on end. Hawk had taught him how to meditate. He remembered Hawk's bone-white hair and rosy eyes, and he remembered Hawk's death on the railroad tracks. These memories he allowed himself, but others were distracting, irrelevant. The past did not exist. After a week, he put his memories away. It was better to meditate on the present. The ruins around Yim were not like the dead city. They were brighter and more open during the day. There were fewer corpses. The Nawab had built a high wall around the West City and reinforced it with heaps of junk and trashed cars. Sparrow stayed away from the wall, explored the eastern ruins, finding more clothes, fuel cells, and a pillow to sleep on. He trimmed his beard with his knife and made a divining charm from a discarded necklace. There were gone trinkets to be found about, such as he'd never seen before. He collected as many as he could and practiced enchanting them. Once each was vibrant with magic, he hid them in an amulet pouch he made from an old sock. The pouch would mask their power. Wren had taught him that. Hiding had been her specialty. Remembering the first spells he'd learned, Wren's simple concealing tricks made Sparrow feel closer to his memories of her. He couldn't indulge long in nostalgia, though, when he began to feel memory's undertow. Sparrow fell back to pragmatism. Anything could be hunting this emptiness. And many monsters were magivores. An unshielded bag of enchanted objects would be like a beacon in these dangerous wastes. And Sparrow wanted quiet. There were plants all over the city, but they were all offline. They stood in broken squares, wreathed with sunlight, birds' nests in the barrels of their particle cannons, or they slumped silent to fall into shopping centers or apartment buildings. One day, Sparrow popped a platform's power plant and sat staring into the foxfire until night fell and he had to sleep in the machine's cockpit. The next day, he wondered if he could install a platform's power plant in himself. He didn't know what powered him. When he pressed his wrist, he felt a pulse. He breathed and he slept. But could he take a battery? Searching his mind, he found a suite of controls: respiration, coolant pressure, stress mode. He performed some careful experiments with the settings. Adjusting his systems was like nothing he'd ever experienced. It was meditation on a new level. He realized that he could expand his capabilities with a thought. He found a schematic of his systems and sat motionless through 2 sunsets, studying it behind his eyelids. It listed some parts and abilities he hadn't known he'd had. Jump struts, strike assist, vestibular tuning. Good, but not what he wanted. At least, or rather, at last, there was a menu tree labeled Power Source. Sparrow learned that his power source was a wing-shaped device at the base of his skull. It was neither a platform's power plant nor a kinematic field vehicle's reactor. It was an arcane battery, magic and biotechnology working together. He'd never thought it possible. Machines were dead, and magic required life. His power source was a living machine component powered by an extremely chaotic quantum spell. That was why he didn't have to charge like other machines, but The system wasn't perfect. He was vulnerable to magical dispulsion. What would happen if some powerful mage broke the quantum spell that made his battery work? He would shut down, drop like a doll. He remembered that Gears had used a device to knock him offline. That was another vulnerability. He was lucky to be alive. That much he knew. His uniqueness had saved him then, but exploring it now only made him feel alien. Was unique, in his case, just another word for alone? That answer was not inside him. There was no model number on his schematics, no inventor's name, no manufacturer's mark. Who'd made him? He couldn't assume, so he didn't. Instead, he focused on getting well again and developing a plan. When Sparrow returned to Yim, the harrowing was just a bad memory. Chuma met him at the north end with a big group of Naveb. They welcomed him back with a ceremony and gave him gifts: salted fish, a prayer stick, a beaded clip for his hair. He pulled his graying mane back from his face and clipped it up, and told them he looked much better. Machuk was well, and she met him after the ceremony. She told him she was coming with him into the West City. Why? He asked. You don't owe me anything. They were sitting on the edge of an empty swimming pool. It was almost midday, and it was warm. Rain was coming. It was in the sky, invisible, the promise of clouds. Sparrow could smell it. The black storm over Golhoth's head never rained. It only turned, and light shone through it. Whether I owe you something or not isn't the point, Machuk said. They're sending you in there alone. I'm the only friend you have here, and I want to help. I don't even know what I'm going to need help with, Sparrow said. I don't know what's in the West City. I might not need help. Machuk gave Sparrow a look. Sparrow's gesture database called it playful chiding. How about just company, then? She said. Sparrow thought about this. He couldn't remember ever having wanted company. Company was complicated. People meant expectations. Socializing was a game. Play the game wrong, and friends could become enemies. And everybody knew the rules of the game, but Sparrow. I'm not good with company, Sparrow said. Yes, you are, Machuk replied. You do fine. You just don't know it. And if you get nervous, think about the giant evil god. We don't know that Golhoth is evil. He could just be tired. Machuk looked straight at Sparrow until he met her gaze. Can I come with you, Sparrow? Sparrow patted her hand. It was a risk, but he took it. Yes, you may, he replied. Good. Sparrow told Machuk what he was going to do. They prepared and set out. A guide led them over soft-shadowed verandas and across promenades looking down on open souvenir markets. Most gone ruins were tangles of broken buildings. They didn't look as though they'd ever been anything. But Yim was unusually intact. It might have been beautiful when it was bright and living, when the gone people had been here in throngs, shopping and swimming. There must have been so much sound and color. Yim was quiet and empty, but mostly whole. The buildings were works of art. The murals, the painted sidewalks, the big stuffed animals. Gorgeous as it was, though, it might as well have been a graveyard. There was sadness even in those parts of the city where Naveb still lived. In the new world, all beauty seemed doomed. There was a single open gate between the east city and the west. The guide left them when they reached it. Sparrow took his divining charm out of his pocket and gave it to Machuk. When she held it, it rose into the air, pointing the way. Then she and Sparrow entered the west city. Sparrow felt the atmosphere change. "Do you feel the magic?" he asked. "It's huge here. Don't stare. Don't focus too long on anything, and don't pick anything up." Machuk only nodded. She followed Sparrow toward Golhoth. Sparrow wasn't sure how to get to the place where Golhoth was sitting, but that didn't matter. Magic would lead them. Thus ends Chapter 8. I apologize for all of the yawning I was doing as I read. I feel very tired today, but not in a bad way. Perhaps I just have to get into a relaxed state of mind in order to do videos like these. Well, whatever the case, I will be back with Chapter 9. Until then, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video.